gumbo.
Picata, titicaca.
Excuse me, does the gumbo have corn in it?
I am Cornholio. I need picata for my bunghole.
You'll have to wait your turn, sir.
Are you threatening me? My bunghole will not wait.
Hey, I got a beer. Want some?
Welcome back to the Bioterrorism channel, your home for reviews on cult movies and classics. Derek, what cartoon on MTV from the 90s that pissed off conservatives and parents and spawned the career of Mike Judge?
And Stimpy. No, I'm kidding. The show is Beavis and Butthead. And Beavis and Butthead was a show that focused on two dim-witted teens and their crude misadventures while commenting on music and pop culture of the time. Its crude humor reportedly did inspire teens to do some of the same behaviors that you would witness in the show. I know, growing up, our parents threatened to punish us if we watched the show, but at the height of the show, at the height of the show's popularity, I mean, the movie came out, which is what we're reviewing today.
Yes. Beavis and Butthead Do America came out at the height of the show's popularity. While still focusing on the dumbass teenagers, the movie kind of serves as a social commentary at the time. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Hey, Butthead.
You said ass.
Anyway. Yeah.
Nah. Man, that's kind of the humor you would see on the show, right?
Yeah, score.
I am Cornholio.
Anyway, the great Cornholio needs to begin the review. Beavis and Butthead, the movie, was a rare occurrence in cinema as very few adult-oriented animated movies have been released on the big screen. Another challenge was translating the essence of the show into 90-minute movies. Mike Judge makes a departure from the regular format of the show where Beavis and Butthead critique music videos in the middle of the episodes and has them go on a cross-country misadventure that begins with them searching for a replacement for the story on television. They get wrapped up in the middle of a bioterrorism scare along the way.
Oh, God. Yeah. So, while Beavis and Butthead pursue their still on television and a chance to score, which the female villain of the movie is voiced by Demi Moore, Agent Fleming, who's voiced by the now late and great Robert Stack, hunts down Buddy and Dallas, which, again, they're the Demi Moore and Bruce Willis characters who are the villains of the movie, so to speak. They cross paths with Agent Fleming. And then, of course, anyone who does cross Agent Fleming's path is subject to a lengthy cavity search, which he's more than happy to just dish out whenever he wants.
Mike Judge is known for his social commentary in his projects, and this movie is no exception. While Beavis and Butthead cause trouble, Agent Fleming is willing to violate every American's constitutional rights with unlawful searches in the name of protecting our freedoms. A few years before something we call the Patriot Act came into effect.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this movie's prophetic. That tells the future. It's a tell. You ass. But oh God, where do we begin with this movie? As we already said earlier, in our intro here, it is a huge departure from the typical format of the typical Beavis and Butthead episode of the 90s. For those of you who are unaware, Beavis and Butthead started off as just little shorts, bumper shorts or whatever. I think they were no longer than 10 minutes in length, and they would just show up sporadically on MTV. With the first one being called Frog Baseball, which is essentially the pilot, the whole franchise. And then there was a couple other ones, and then it slowly morphed into an actual television show. I think they actually evolved it into having a half an hour time slot. I forget if the original episodes became 30-minute, your standard 30-minute TV episode, or they broke it up, kind of how those Cartoon Network shorts of the day, like Dexter's Lab, would have 2 or 3 10-minute cartoons into one episode kind of deal. I have to go back and watch some of that to forget how they did it. But pretty much most of the antics does just revolve just crude humor. Physical abuse between the two characters, Beavis and Butthead. They began a lecture in a classroom And then you'd be like one of the teachers who's like all their teachers like are oblivious and like dim-witted as well. They'd be like, all right, we're gonna hold hands and touch each other or something, and then he was about to be like, huh, you said touch. And I mean, there was some skits, right? Like the cornholio skit where he just pulls his shirt up over the head, and he's like, "I'm the great cornholio. I need TV for my bunghole." Yeah, growing up, that was funny. And then they had a neighbor, maybe like named Mr. Anderson, I believe, and he's some old fart who's always like in the way of Beavis and Butthead, and he sounds exactly like Hank Hill from King of the Hill. I mean, he's voiced by Mike Judge too. And then, god damn, there's some other like, how would you say, strong sporting characters. Fuck, there was a female character that ended up getting her own spinoff show as well.
Daria.
Yeah, and those other skits like Beavis would be like fire, 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 right? And that actually was one of those things that caused controversy, and actually I had to stop having him do that in the show. Because it's like, oh, Beavis is lighting things on fire again. Hot fire. And if I recall correctly, I think it was an episode where there was a plane that crashed or something. I might be misremembering this, but it caused controversy. And then they scrapped the whole shtick until this movie came out. And of course, the movie, they brought that back because, I mean, it's a movie. And no, Mike Judge, he doesn't waste any time doing the social commentary. Because, I mean, this movie does, in a humorous way, poke fun at the way that our constitutional rights can be violated, like with the unnecessary search and seizures, courtesy of Robert Stack. Like, you're hiding something. It's time for a cavity search. Now, one of the most memorable scenes of this movie, there's a bunch of funny little bits here or there, is they meet their fathers. Like, during the whole their cross country, escapades, right? They're wandering the desert or something, and they start tripping out, and they actually meet their fathers, but they don't realize it's their dads. And then like their dads are just like drifters and losers, but they're like, you guys are cool. Oh god. Yeah, fuck, that was another funny scene where like pretty sure it was Beavis. Yeah. Like he's on a bus with a bunch of nuns or whatever. And he just causes chaos there. And oh god, just the whole setup of them losing their TV, like their house gets broken into, right? And they just do all this stupid shit to just get their shitty television back. Like, oh my god. Like a whole bunch of small little funny gags. It just adds up over time. It's a fun watch.
Well, the thing about Mike Judge is every project of his, there's a message about involved in his projects. Like King of the Hill is basically an examination of blue collar life in Texas. His movie Office Space was a critique on the typical office work environment. And then probably his most famous live action movie is Idiocracy, which that movie is more of a foreshadowing documentary than a work of fiction, because
Yeah.
we're becoming dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. And that movie is just like that movie just predicted the future, but but instead of having everyone become dumbasses in hundreds of years or so, it's happening now, and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
No, fun fact. The shoe brand Crocs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were looking for some like goofy, weird, stupid shoe that like people would wear in the movie.
Yeah.
And they came across Crocs before like they became really big and popular. Because like they looked at these things and like these look retarded. This is perfect. So they're all wearing Crocs for that specific reason. And then it became a big
Well,
popular thing. But we're getting a little off track here. We gotta recenter and Beavis and Butthead to America.
well, what the thing about Beavis and Butthead is, as it was stated before, the movie is a reflection on basically American rights in the Constitution and how basically as a society we're becoming numb to stupidity as we watch Beavis and Butthead cause chaos after chaos, and they rarely get reprimanded for it. Yet others around them, like for example, their neighbor Mr. Anderson, pay the price for their stupidity.
Oh yeah, he gets a cavity search.
Stupidity. Yeah, he gets him and his wife get one, and then you have Agent Fleming, who is basically he's like a pre-Patriot Act enforcement officer. There was the Patriot Act existed before 9/11, and he's the type of person who is willing to violate the Constitution in the name of our safety and freedom because even though Americans like their safety and freedom, we really don't have it, and if we do have it, it's coming at a great personal cost to our privacy and basically to the Bill of Rights.
Yeah. I mean, well said. I mean, that's actually the overall point my judge is trying to get across with this movie. But just all the little humorous hijinks, the Beavis and Butthead kind of distract you from the main point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like you get all preachy about it, or he can illustrate it in humorous, and often bizarre ways. You know, like the Agent Fleming character, which honestly, Robert Stack was a fucking great choice for that. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of voice I would expect to hear from some guy who's like ready to just tear up the Constitution and violate your fucking rights in the name of law and order. That's the kind of voice I want to hear from a person that would do that. Yeah, I mean, that was a good casting choice. The Bruce Willis, Demi Moore character, right?
Mm.
You know, they just play like some crime, you know, whatever, some bandits or whatever the fuck they are. All right, I'm like, okay, you know, and you still have the occasional like, there's like musical numbers thrown into the movie. I think a couple of them were made specifically for it because I mean, the Beavis and Butthead movie, there's gonna have to be some kind of fucking rock and roll or heavy metal references thrown in there. Otherwise, it's not Beavis and Butthead.
Well, that sequence in the desert when you meet their dads and they get high off of cactus juice.
Mm-hmm.
The music for that was specifically written for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm going to be proven wrong in the comment section. But basically, the cactus scene in that movie was an example of music being written for that movie, and then. And then MTV did promote the movie because I know the Red Hot Chili Peppers had a music video featuring Beavis and Butthead as a promotion for the movie.
I mean, honestly, this is one of those movies that's like a perfect time capsule of the time of which it was released, which it came out in the 90s. I mean, shit. A lot of the things you see in that movie are no longer present. Like after their TV's stolen, they go to their school to take one of the telephones out of the school. And that's on one of those stupid rolling cart things.
Yeah.
Like going to school back then, like the teacher rolled that out. It was gonna be fucking lit. Like, oh man, we're gonna watch something cool today. I mean, you're not gonna see that anymore. The cord, wired phones or phones with cords, cell phone. I mean, that's just all the technology, well, even the cultural references, which like honestly, if you were to go watch this movie for the first time today,
Yeah.
A lot of it might flow over your head. You might not think it's as funny. I mean, especially with the Beavis and Butthead character specifically, because I mean, like they're even like the whole like nasally like laugh thing they do, like like if you don't like you didn't watch this shit before that and don't think it's funny, you're not gonna find it throughout the movie. They don't, they don't drop it. Yeah, and it just, it's like, Beavis, we're gonna finally score. Which, all the little antics that carried over from the show, right? It really is a time capsule of when it really came out, and it was also it was definitely the peak of the Beavis and Butthead franchise as well. So after that, it faded off in the sunset fast. I mean, the Beavis and Butthead, like there'd be occasional specials or shorts sporadically, or they would just show up in some other like random project or whatever. I think one of the Jackass movies, there's like an opening where it's like it's Jackass in 3D and it's the Beavis and Butthead characters describing it. I mean, it was just like sporadic appearances, and then there was a revival or reboot in the 2010s, and that was short lived. And then
there've been two revivals of the show.
Yeah.
Once in the 2010s, and then again in the 2020s, which I believe is actually still ongoing.
Yeah.
Going there, but at the moment, I think they're producing new episodes for it. But
yeah. So the current revival, so Beavis and Butthead Do America got a sequel that was released during the pandemic called Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, which it's funny. I won't go as far as saying it was as funny as the original, but it had its moments, it had its charm, and then that leads to the current revival of the series as we know it. So, I mean, the movie has a long lasting cultural impact. There's no getting around that. Like it's the whole Beavis and Butthead franchise. Like if you grew up with the MTV era of the '90s, you definitely remember it. Because this is still a time period when MTV had music on fucking TV, like music videos.
Yes.
Which is one of the hallmarks of the show, because they would actually review and react to a music video. So there you have it, man. Let's Beavis and Butthead Did America. They did the universe. And then y'all should do us a favor, right? Like and subscribe, follow our channel. Go watch Beavis and Butthead Do America. If you get your hands on the original episodes or even the revivals, watch that too. And of course, the sequel, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Yeah, my judge is definitely he's a pretty goddamn good content creator. You gotta give that man credit. And then his other franchise, King of the Hill, is being revived this August. So,
yes,
there you have it. So, with all that out of the way, thank you for watching. And until the next time, later.
Later, people.